Hello everyone, it is the 29th of June and it's been a few days since my last video and I think it was in part because I've been feeling a bit down lately, a bit run down and a bit depressed down, and so they sort of feed back in on themselves. One part that may be due to the ongoing crash of Bitcoin and the fear of losing lots of money, and so that weighs on me quite a bit. But another part is I think Leonardo is sick at the moment, got a runny nose, and I'm getting some of those symptoms. I think I'm just literally coming down with a cold, and it hasn't really manifested itself yet, but sometimes your body just feels lethargic as it starts fighting off an infection. So sort of thinking that's what's happening. But whatever it is, I haven't done the videos and I haven't been productive at all. And that's frustrating on two levels. But it's very frustrating because right now, particularly if Bitcoin's crashing, and I'm looking over there and I've just figured out how to do this, I can now go turn on the other thing and go flick. Look, that's my screen. I should be able to just flick between them now. It's the 1 hour chart. Yeah, so if Bitcoins keep crashing, there's a very real chance that I will lose all of my net worth because of some stupid mistakes I made in the past that I haven't fixed. Trying to fix, haven't fixed, therefore still at risk. So a thing that I've been trying to do for over a year, longer even, but since March last year I've been slowly putting together a crowdfunding campaign for Rebutta back then, and the project has evolved to the Socratic Web over that time. So more than ever I need to get this damn thing happening, get some funding to launch the project so that I can get some funding, some real funding for the project, not just like $10,000 or $20,000 to get it off the ground, but like 300,000 US to really make it happen. And in doing that, I'll be able to pay myself a wage so we can afford to survive. Part of the reason why I've been delaying it for lots of reasons, largely psychological. But in part, when Bitcoin went up to $20,000, it's like, you know what, I can work on this for a year or two, and even pay for things with the amount of money that it had, that my balance was showing, which now has all basically gone. So that confidence and belief that I just had, stumbled upon a bit of luck and I could take care of things myself, just evaporated. And so back to the drawing board. I've got to find a way to make this project viable through traditional means, if crowdfunding counts as traditional at this point in time. So so there's a lot of pressure on me to make this happen and go, and I've been trying to put together the campaign for a year, but failing largely for psychological reasons. It's like every time I start working on it, it brings out all of my stupid insecurities and asking for things and trying to sell myself and sell the vision without sounding arrogant or like a douchebag or overselling it or being overconfident, but also conveying confidence so that I get people to believe in the project. It's like I've read too much about psychology and too much about marketing, and have too many cynical friends who critique the crap out of everything, that my brain's just constantly balancing all these opposing forces in it and trying to please all of them, and it's of course impossible. Now, at the end of the day, I know the right decision is to listen to what I've learned about psychology and marketing and just do my best, and that's the key thing, do my best, and then fuck it, everything else doesn't matter, just do it. I know this. That doesn't mean that I just sit down and write it and it happens. So I spend a lot of my time second guessing, rewriting, and just getting writer's block. But not even writer's block, because I know what to write. It's just like a psychological wall that says, oh, I don't know if I should write it this way. And so I just goes in circles of sort of an anxious doubt, I guess. And it's frustrating. So between possibly coming down with a cold and that psychological crap that I hate and that I will work through no matter what, and the psychological baggage of cryptos going down and that just being a constant stress and downward pressure on my psyche at the moment. I haven't felt like making videos, I haven't felt like talking, and then I haven't been very productive either. Though it struck me just now, which is why I'm making this video, that perhaps it was because I stopped making videos that I haven't been so productive. The reason I started making them was in part to hold myself accountable, to motivate myself to do the work, and I may have even said, and I definitely feel it's true now, almost as a personal therapy session. I am my own psychiatrist here, my own psychotherapist, and talking through my problems and saying them out loud really makes a difference. A bit of introspection is powerful, and for some reason saying it out loud just makes it a little bit more real and makes it a little bit more obvious what I'm thinking, rather than having it go in circles in my head and not confronting it. So I really need to double down on my commitment to making these every day, even if I don't feel like it, because it probably helps, and I need to keep doing it. And I'll see. Like, I'm feeling so down, I'll keep making them and see if it helps be productive even on those days. So, and like I've said in so many other videos, I hope no one's watching it. I really don't want other people to be seeing this, but I want to film it, I want to make it, and I want to continue to be honest with it and upload it, sort of for the sake of prosperity. I don't know. If this works out and it's successful, then one day these videos will be hilarious. And if it's not successful, then no one will ever see them, because I'll be nobody who did nothing. So, you know, win-win. So, there's all my anxieties and doubts, insecurities. Like, all in all, I know I'm pretty lucky. I don't have a lot of that, but I do have it, as everyone does. I think not everyone. Psychopaths don't. I'm not a psychopath, I'm pretty sure. It's a bit of a handicap, I believe. Apparently, psychopaths have a don't suffer distractions so much, and don't procrastinate. What a superpower, to be able to not procrastinate, to be able to focus, and an unwavering focus to getting things done. Yeah, psychopathy sucks, but imagine being able to turn that on and off. Right on cue, just as I was about to start looking at the thing that I'm looking at Leonardo's doing. Not his fault, because I've spent the whole day not doing nothing. I did some work, but not enough. I actually started again. I had this. Got to go by crowdfunding. Who was behind this? I was down to like a version of this, and Vanessa had a look through it, and it's like, yeah, obviously it's new and needs work, which I knew, but I also didn't like the way it rolled, so I'm like, basically started again. And at some point I need to stop doing that. I need to just get a shitty version done, and I need to put it into the website and get that shitty version, draft 1, completed and drafted, so that I can work on the draft rather than not being sure what to do. Which brings me to what I'm trying to do now, is working through what I need to say. What is it that I need to convey in this? Now, one of the good things I did a year ago when I was preparing for this is I went and read a bunch of articles on how to do a good crowdfunding campaign. I put together a list of how to write a pitch. You need to say 1 to 3 goals. Needs to have an attention-grabbing story. I need social influence, testimonials, quotes from journalists. Second-person narratives. I'll give you an example. When you are browsing social media, I'm sure you know to check articles before sharing them, but not everyone else does, which is why we need Rebutta. Now, this is, as I said, I wrote all this a year ago when I was working on this as Rebutta, not as the Socratic Web. But so I reread through this morning. I need to remind me, because I need to keep all these ideas internalized as I'm putting together the pitch. I need to give reasons. Use the word because. I need certainty. Confidence convinces. Like I said before, I know I need to do that. But then as I'm writing, I'm like hearing voices of other people in my head. You know, my imaginings of what other people will think when they read it. Go, what a douchebag, saying he can solve misinformation. Because I know that'll be thought. It will be. But that's irrelevant, because if I'm right, I do. And if I'm wrong, then, well, it won't work and everyone will forget about it anyway. I've got to remember that. No one... people will potentially laugh and make fun of me when they read it and it sounds like a load of shit. and then they'll get on with their life and forget about me, so it doesn't matter. Convey your reputation, education. So this is the thing that I was up to, which, and the other version I was writing that I sort of paused on because I started to say too much. I started to over-explain, and this is it's a common issue that I have, over-explaining things, because I never know what the other person knows or assumes, and I feel like if they miss any particular detail and the nuance of it, then they won't understand it. So it's a problem that I have, but I think it's a problem of communication that I overcompensate for, maybe. And so I know I need to keep it succinct, and so I just need to figure out sometimes that certain things, even though I think they're like cool to know or useful or convey some message, it's more valuable to just omit that whole area, because if I don't, then I end up going down this deep rabbit hole of over-explanation and other issues that put people off because there's too much to read. Here's Leonardo. Hello. Did you have a good day?
Yeah, and I played the Doctor Who game.
You played Doctor Who game? Hey Leonardo, come over here. Come over here. Say hello to the camera.
Hello.
No one's
there.
No one's there. We're just recording and making a video. Go on the internet. People can see it. You're a bit tired, are you? You have a big day?
I want to watch the
Okay, you just want to watch your phone and rest. It's been out playgrouping all day, so playing with kids and running around, so it's perfectly reasonable for him to want to chill out watching TV, as we did as kids, and now it's on his phone, and he can watch whatever he wants whenever he wants, which would have been awesome to have as a kid, the ability to watch whatever cartoon you wanted to watch on demand. It's cool. And dangerous. Anyway, so I've got this list of things to keep in mind, and so I've been trying to, so I reread that this morning, and I'll try and keep them in mind. And so what I've done so far is try to sort of introduce the situation. I've linked a couple of articles. I want to put in, because one of the things is add credibility, quotes from journalists or whatever, so straight away, like my favourite quote, for obvious reasons that I've ever had, is this early on back in 2012, is Eric wrote this article about making money tech, ironically, because Roboto would never make money. But he introduced Roboto and said, talk about a brilliant idea, and of course I've loved that. So I figure I can have that up early to create third-party validation of the idea. So a quick introduction. Misinformation is a problem. People paying attention, but it's not helping. Some articles that I've written, and Dana Boyd's article, explaining that like really what everyone's doing is not helping. The problem's bigger than that, or you're doing it wrong. So then instead of saying here's the solution, then I go into the story, which is how they've asked for it. What is your story? And apparently, the best way to go about this is to tell a compelling story, which is conveniently something that I have. So I'll go back to how Roboto began, how the idea came about, how I tried to avoid making it, ended up making it, and so I'm just up to the point now where it's like we spent a few years working on it. We've got lots of quick sort of summation of the success we had. We've got active users, we had rebuttal links in the thing, we've got press coverage, a great deal. So this is not a great deal of credit, that's a crap line, but I need to figure out how to succinctly say it was good, we did well. And here I will link to this blog article that I wrote at the end of 2015, which is telling because this was like more than a year after we basically stopped working on it. And part of the reason I wrote this blog article, which is a list of all of the features we built, competitions and awards we won, and press we received, organizational supporters, podcasts I was in, and public presentations I gave, right? So this is just a perfect summary of all that we had achieved. I wrote that as a way of cataloging everything we achieved, because it felt, after working on something for 3 years and then being kind of forced out of working on it for personal reasons, for financial reasons, for life reasons, it does feel frustrating to watch that thing you put all that work into just sort of fade away and slowly lose relevance and feel like nothing's been achieved. Now, it's not true, because we did achieve a lot. I definitely learned a lot from the process. But more importantly, I think, is this. I need to put together this list because it became a shorthand way for me to be able to show people, like, well, this is what we've done. Because one of the problems I had all the time is remembering all the coverage we got in the press and all the podcasts I've done. So this is just an easy way to keep track of it. I can look at any article now that I had quite easily. This is one of the good ones. 10 startups that could change the face of news forever. 2012. Rebuttal. That's what it used to look like. Coming soon. Coming soon. We had Firefox briefly. Then we got the Internet Explorer. So anyway, so that way I can just do a short look. We got stuff. We got success. Here's the comprehensive list. Go and have a look at what we achieved. And then go into from that. But it became clear that Rebuttal couldn't achieve the vision that I had for it, which is skipping a step. I don't need to use dot points. I've actually done this once before, but I'm doing it again now. I think I can try and do it quickly. But having the video and feeling the timely presence, so that if someone's watching this for 16 minutes, it's like no one's going to watch this for more than half an hour. No one's going to watch it. But if someone wanted to watch it, half an hour. So I've got 15 minutes to get this done. I really need a drink. I wish this thing had a pause. Start screen, let's just stop. And of all the things, I don't have a decent video editor on my computer now, and I'm too bloody broke to pay for things. I know free ones exist, but every time I look, they just suck or they're annoying. Too bad. Thirsty. Deal with it. So first of all, great deal of success, but had no money or funding, and life happened. Craig needed an income / started a new startup. I had a son who I had to take care of because wife has chronic illness. So lots of time to reflect on what we had achieved, hence the article, and figure out what needed to be done differently to take it to the next level. The vision had evolved over the 3 years we had been working on it, from simple list of rebuttals to a concept which could revolutionize the way everyone relates to information online. See 2013 TAM talk. So I think that talk really put together the vision quite well. So it was a papers talk. So it was a talk that I pitched to them to do on the Sunday morning as a 15-minute thing. And of course, in pitching that, the premise is you don't go up there to sell your startup or to try and get people to use your service. You know, it's a paper. It's not academic, but the point is to communicate something to the audience that you've done, and not being a famous person they may not hear about but may be interested in. And so I did my best to make the talk not about Rebuttal, though of course Rebuttal was central to the story, but about the vision behind Rebuttal and why it mattered. And so it's so interesting re-watching that talk, which I did just the other day, how absolutely spot on it was with the current vision of the Socratic web, even though it was 5 years ago, and the Socratic web as the term and even the concept of something didn't exist until
Maybe.
April or May last year, 2017. Dinner? Yeah, Bub, 20 minutes?
I want something right now.
You want dinner right now, huh? Okay, I have to go downstairs and cook it. Give me 5 minutes, okay? We'll go down. So 5 minutes.
No, not. I don't want to be fast with it.
Okay, well, you go downstairs now and then I'll come down. So, vision evolved. It kind of needs to be first. I don't know how this kind of lead into that, but that's kind of needs to be first. But there's no money, life got in the way. So we had lots of time to reflect on what we achieved and figure out what needed to be done next. All came to a head when 2016 happened, and suddenly the world cared about fake news. No one cared about misinformation in 2012 and 2013. Seriously. Viewed it as fringe issue that didn't affect them. Just conspiracy theorists, nutters on the internet, whatever, just ignore them, they'll go away. Honestly, that was the attitude. The number of conversations I had to like explain. Seriously, this is a problem. Anyway. It's not flowing though. It doesn't matter. It became clear that the product couldn't achieve the vision that I had for it because it was a browser extension. The solution had to be integrated into the web as people use it. It had to be integrated into Facebook, Google, Twitter, Firefox, etc. Small option. Therefore, Scrape the Web was born. Without the browser extension, just the database. An open source project run by a non-profit consortium to manage the database, which every major tech company could query to get lists of critiques of any content they display. Perfect. Dish. So this came together following the internet, SESWM, something like that. International Conference on Web and Social Media. Conference and one-day misinformation workshop organised by Phil. Phil and Giovanni. Great work, guys. Thanks for that. It's really good, and thank you for getting me there. They covered some of my travel expenses, and that makes a big difference because I had to pay for everything. Everything that's not helped, I'm not helped with. It's just literally paying for out of my own bank balance, which is not replenished with a job. For the last few years has been largely supplied by the Australian government paying parenting payments and or savings from Vanessa. When she worked as a teacher, she saving to buy a house, and her father died from mesothelioma, so her mum got a settlement and dispersed some of that money to her kids. So Vanessa got some thousands of pounds, and so I had savings when we got together. But having now had chronic fatigue syndrome for 10 years, hasn't been able to work for 10 years. So the two of us have been living off her savings earlier on, some of my passive income from Sports Arbitrage Guide, and otherwise support from her mum and support from my parents in the form of accommodation when we're in Australia or England, or other forms of support, and government support. And it's from like this weird collection of cheap lifestyle, parental support, government support, and savings that we've managed to go for as long as we have without working. I've had a few gigs along the way and worked a little bit here and there when I could, but for the most part I'm almost unemployable because my background's so random, and because I don't aggressively look either, and because I have projects like this, when I talk to people in environments where you could be networking for work, I network for this. I talk to them about the Socratic Web and blah. So I probably give the impression that I've got my shit together, or that I know what I'm doing, or that I'm not looking for work because I've definitely got a project I'm working on. Which of course is complicated because on one hand I'd love to get paid work because I could use some money, but on the other hand I recognise part of the problem with getting paid work is that I want paid work so that I could work on this, which is why I need to crowdfund and get funding so I can get paid to work on this. Anyway, so the crowdfunding is to fund some of these travels because the flights and the accommodation, it's just generally over $1,000 each conference minimum, depending on the tickets. I usually get the tickets for free because I ask, or I'm talking, or I do something, but not always. Blah, whatever. This is kind of the story which leads us to blah, white paper, which I've already got a link somewhere else. But no, that's so what is web? I just need to explain this too much. I don't think I need to go into too much detail here because I will have explained it a bit with Rebutta, and the evolution's hopefully clear. I will need to go into some detail, but I will also just link to, and it kind of explains it there. It just needs to integrate into Facebook, the Socratic Web, non-profit open source open access database which connects URLs to other URLs on the basis of the other URL rebuts the original one, rebuts, critiques, contradicts, corrects, fact checks. Now, see white paper. Why do we need this? Because it can work when nothing else will. I don't know. I've explained all this in the white paper to some extent, but I will need some kind of a short section to explain to other people that have arrived. Because part of the hope of running this crowdfunding campaign is that I will get some press out of it. I'll be able to take this to journalists, of which I now have quite a few friends that were journalists, take it to them and say, I'm crowdfunding, can you write a story about it? Can we get some publicity? So hopefully I'll get a whole new batch of people that are hearing about Rebutta for the first time, and for the first time engaging with this concept of the Socratic web. So the pitch itself should have enough information in it for them to understand how it works and understand why it's different to everything else and why it's significantly better than everything else, so that they will readily support it just at the pitch to part with money to help it happen. So the story will hopefully do a bit of that. Why do we need this? Because it will correct misinformation at its source without needing anyone to change their usual behaviours. Also influence a long-term global trend towards increased skepticism of information and improved critical thinking skills. That's my general line on why the Socratic web matters and what it does. We need this. And then what is a crowdfunding for, which I've actually just written, so I can probably just use that. And who is behind this is what I was up to. So I'm just rewriting the story a bit because I didn't like the way I'd written that. But what I've done here I actually liked already, except for so this bit and that bit. I haven't reread it, but the flow makes sense. Tell the story, which gets us to this day. It's like, and this is why we're making the Socratic web. So what is the Socratic web? The Socratic web is blah. Here's the information you need on what it is and how we're going to build it. So why are we crowdfunding? Crowdfunding is going to be done to raise money for these purposes and achieve this other purpose, which is to show public support for it and to act as a basis of getting more publicity and attention to it, which will hopefully then raise more money and, just as importantly, attract the attention of the people that we need to attract the attention of. Because one of the big changes from Rebuttal to the Socratic web is that I'm no longer trying to convince people to use Rebuttal. It's not a public marketing objective. The marketing, the sales, is now aimed at, well, first, the philanthropic organizations with money. I need to convince them that this is the world-changing solution that they need, that they're all looking for. So many people with so much money are looking for solutions to the misinformation, disinformation problem. And this is the keystone to it. This isn't the solution. This isn't going to do everything. But it's going to do what needs to be done to allow so many of the other things that are being done to be more effective and to have the impact that they need to have. So I need to... I need them to have enough respect for the project to give me the time to communicate that effectively, because it's complex. I can't do it with a bloody email or apparently a single half-hour video chat. I've had quite a few of them with people and never hear from them again, so clearly I'm failing to communicate it or something.
Are you nearly done?
Yeah.
We're very overtired and confused boy, but I only want you to cook and dinner.
Okay. Okay, I'll calm down. We can cook dinner. About to go into another major doubt that I have, which is that I'll say it quickly and then I'll live with that, and then I'll come back in the video tomorrow. I'll keep talking about this. The biggest, I guess, insecurity that I have about this whole project, the thing that I find hardest to grapple with, is the disparity between my confidence that this is the thing that needs to be done, the solution that needs to be worked on, the significance of this solution, the possible impact that this will have on humanity and the way we move forwards as an intermediate, as a thing that needs to be done in the way that we interact with information. the disparity between my belief in the project and the fact that I spent 6 years talking to people about it. And I've definitely got better at that time. So, let's say the last 3 years even, talking to people about it, some of which I've had lots of time to talk to them about. And so a few of them, I've got to the end of the conversation and felt like, okay, they actually get it. And not really one of those people have gone, you know what, this is fucking amazing, I need to spend a lot of time working on it. And on one hand, I recognize that's just life. They've got their job, they've got their stuff they're doing, they've got their own obsessions that they're working on or whatever. So I don't expect everyone to just go, well, this is the most important thing in the world, let's work on it. But another part of me thinks they bloody well should. Misinformation is possibly the most important thing to be working on right now. It is genuinely a threat to democracy, to civil society, to international peace, and to the long-term survival of the human species. Like, literally, misinformation causes us to make bad political decisions, which lead to things like nuclear warfare, which lead to things like bad policy on environmental policy. Misinformation is pervasive to all of our problems. And as long as we have an information ecosystem which continues to empower the promulgation of misinformation and the ability for disinformation campaigns to tap into that and amplify it and make it worse, it's like nothing's more important than this right now. And so many other people get that now. They get that. And they're all throwing money and time at projects that completely misunderstand the actual core problem and completely misunderstand their ability to affect it by telling people what to believe or telling people what's trustworthy or reliable. And that's why I spend so much time writing articles and arguing against people that are like, oh, I've got this. Because great intention, but you're fucking making it worse. Work on something that's going to make a difference. And this is the problem, of everything I've seen, this is the only thing I think is going to make a difference. And, like, education helps and improve journalism. These are crucial, but this is the background. This is the default. This is what we already have and what the ecosystem within which this exists. We need something new to make that stuff, which should be better, to work. And until we have that, then no amount of more education or better education, no amount of more journalism or better journalism is going to fix the problem, because that is the background within which the problem exists. And so, I don't know how many times I explained that. I don't know how many people I've told it to. I don't know how many people I've got to understand what Roboto is and how it works, and then talk through every single objection and critique and uncertainty they have, and address them all and watch them go, oh yeah, I get it, and like realize that I'm not bullshitting, making it up, or wrong. And then at the end of it, just sort of, it's like they walk away morally defeated by me being right, rather than excited about the fact that they understand that there's a fucking solution and this is it. And so that makes it really hard. I'm sort of wavering in my self-confidence, trying to get to Facebook and Google and philanthropic organizations and say, look, I've got this and it's going to work, and I've got all the answers to it. Just sit down with me, talk to me long enough, and I'll show you. When I've got no evidence so far that that process gets the results that I need, it's frustrating. Of course, the difference is that they are looking for someone else to invest. Like with the philanthropic organizations, they are looking for someone to give money to who thinks that they can make a difference and they then believe in. Similarly with Facebook, it's like they are looking for a solution to this problem. And Google and Twitter, they want solutions to this. They just need to be persuaded that this is it. Unfortunately, I've spoken to at least 2 people from Facebook and given them kind of the full spiel and like brief. Again, it's always brief. It's like interactions in hallways at conferences between events, rather than like having a 2-hour meeting where we talk it through and where they are engaged and they are trying to dissect it. So anytime I talk to someone that's in a position of power or significance where they can make decisions, it's always fleeting and that's never enough. And the few people I've talked to where I've sat down for like an hour or 2 and had them grill me about it, unfortunately are usually people that have jobs that are interested in other things, or just, irrelevant to this project to making this happen. So it's frustrating. Anyway, okay, I'm gonna start uploading this, and I will talk to you again tomorrow and do more ranting and stuff, and get my head out of the shit pile that it's in, and make this fucking thing happen, so that I can move on, so that I can take the next step and deal with the failure that happens, if that's going to happen, and start looking for something new, or finally get out of this fucking circular rut of not taking the next step. Go and do it. See you tomorrow.